Welcome back to Glamour with me, Josh Smith, and today we are joined by a legend. Perrie Edwards, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
You good?
Very good.
I mean, you're stepping out on your own for the first time with the Superga campaign. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's been so good today. I've had the best day ever.
Yeah.
Really fun.
How's it feel stepping away from your security blanket of the girls, would you say?
Yeah. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, but yeah, it's been really good.
There's one thing that I really respect for you recently, you've opened up about your anxiety, and your post about it was so powerful.
Thank
and it was
you.
really moving, and it's really incredible to see someone like you using your position for the greater good and to also speak to your fans, which is really incredible. Yeah. How cathartic was that experience for you?
When it first started happening to me, it felt so like it had never happened to anyone before. I can't explain it. It was almost because I didn't know what was happening. We were preparing for the Glory Days tour. Yeah. And I always have mini breakdowns during tour because learning that much choreography and learning everything.
I mean, it's a lot.
It's intense. It's so intense. It's so mentally and physically draining. Although it's fun, it's hard work. I don't know if it's come with being in the industry and knowing that people are constantly looking at me and constantly want a piece of me, or there might be a pap somewhere or something like that. I don't know what triggered it, but it's just happened. When I was going through the physical attacks and the panic attacks, because I think I've always had anxiety. I just don't think it's ever been triggered in a way that it's become like a physical attack. So when it first started happening to me, it was just so scary because I didn't know what was going on. Like, I was ringing doctors, I was ringing everybody like, I'm dying. I've just had a heart attack and survived it. Like, I thought I was genuinely, there was something wrong with me. And then the reason I never wanted to speak about it before is because every time someone said, oh, I've got a bit of anxiety or I have a bit of this, it would trigger it and then it would happen. It was almost like speaking about it made it kind of come out. It was like this devil that I was terrified of. But it's just your mind kind of, I guess, trying to prepare yourself for something bad that's going to happen, but it's just odd, I don't know. So what helped me the most, it sounds awful, not saying that I wanted other people to be experiencing it, but I looked into it and I noticed that Ellie Goulding came out and said that she had bad anxiety and she couldn't get the car to the studio. And I read that Fern Cotton was on the motorway in her car and she had a physical attack and it was terrifying, and it started to kind of make me feel a bit more normal. I'm a completely different person to what I was a year and a half ago. So when I put that on social media, I just thought I'm just going to be honest about it. So I'm just really glad I did it because I do think social media has kind of taken over everyone's lives right now. Especially the youngins.
Because the crazy thing is we do live in very anxious times because of social media.
Exactly.
But the amazing thing is you've used social media as a greater force for greater good, and you're talking about it, it's helping other people. But what is do you have a love-hate relationship with social media?
Oh, of course. On one hand, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
We can go online every day, talk to our fans, be really close, have this connection with them. But then on the other hand, you go on Instagram and you see people living these ideal lifestyles and people looking perfect 24/7. And you look at it and you think, well, why don't I look like that?
Yeah.
And why don't I have a private jet every day? And why don't I have a Bentley parked outside? And it starts to really mess with your head and you start to feel like you're not good enough and it makes you feel a bit shit. And it's trying to differentiate what's real and what's not. And social media, a lot of the time, it isn't real.
And it's great, like we were saying, that you are using your platform to talk about the anxiety and things like that, because then you can talk about a journey and then people can almost go on it with you as well.
Yeah.
And then that shows it's a positive thing and not a negative thing as well.
Yeah.
Because when you think about that journey, about the journey you've gone on with anxiety, from the start till now, how has your self-confidence grown in order to take steps to overcome it?
Weirdly, when I first started experiencing the panic attacks, I developed a fear of being on my own. So still now, it's a lot better than it was, but when it first started happening, I kept saying if I have a panic attack and I'm on my own, what do I do? I've got nobody to kind of reason with me and I can't rationalise it in my head and I can't make sense of it at the time. So if I haven't got anybody with me, what do I do? So it got to the point where my mum was kind of coming to the studio with me. She was driving to work with me because I just couldn't get in a car on my own. I'd be in a car for 2 seconds and I'd be turn it around, I have to go home. It would freak me out. I just wouldn't be able to leave the house without feeling normal. And getting the train, even now, my boyfriend lives in Manchester, because obviously he plays for Liverpool. So when he moved, it was just it was crap. And then once this started happening, I thought, oh God, this is horrendous. I still can't get the train on my own. Like, it freaks me out. I feel really claustrophobic. I just feel uneasy. But like, obviously it was horrendous at one point, and I couldn't even, if my mum was like, I'm going to the shop for a bottle of milk, I'd sweat. Like, I'd sweat and I'd panic, and I'd be like, please don't leave me on my own, because the second you leave that door, I'm gonna have a panic attack and I'm on my own. Like, what do I do? And then it got to the point where I was like, right, Mum, you go to the shop, right, and take your phone, and then as soon as you've been gone and I start to feel a bit funny, like, I'll ring you. And I did the same with Alex's mum, Wendy. She's been incredible. Like, it was Christmas time and she was like, I'm gonna go walk the dog and I'll be gone for like 2 minutes, and then I'll take my phone, and if you need me, ring, and I can run back. And I was like, right, okay. And I'd try and stay as long as I could without ringing her, but I'd be like shaking. It was so weird. And she would like say, find something to keep your mind occupied, and like do like paint. So my mum got me these little dolls, and I started painting them. I was literally like shaking like this, thinking, don't ring her, you're an adult, come on, you can do it. And it's like battling with your own, like, yourself. It's just weird. But the more I did it, the better it got. My best friend Ellie / cousin, she moved in with me, and it's obviously helped. And now she can go out with her friends and I'm cool. Like, I'm all right on my own. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but it's almost like I needed to be babysat for a long time. And I still struggle now. Like, I wouldn't be able to just go somewhere on my own, like get on the train and go somewhere on my own. I just can't do that anymore. From when I look back now to this kind of weird wobble that I had, I never thought I'd be where I am now, because I never thought there was a way out. And then I thought, you can't live your life like that. How am I going to have a career? How am I going to get on stage and perform? How am I going to meet the fans? How am I going to do any of the stuff that I love doing if I don't leave the house? So it was like doing a step by step, like learning to bloody walk again. It was just weird. Once I got out the house a bit more, my mum didn't have to come to work with me anymore, and then I was fine. Then I started travelling on my own. I can get in a car and go to Manchester now, and I'm fine. Yeah. I'm still a bit uneasy about the train.
Yeah. I mean, trains aren't for everyone, babe.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But yeah, it's just finding coping mechanisms. I'm constantly getting better. I'm constantly not letting it defeat me, and it's just one step at a time, I think.
I think we all need to remember we're on a journey, right?
Yes, we are.
I think the thing you said in the post where you said, I've been in a relationship with my mind for 25 years, is such a powerful statement, because we need to realise we're actually in a relationship with ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
But I don't think there's enough of that. Like, we don't realise that. And we're not like, oh, let's work on my relationship with myself. What are the coping mechanisms for you?
My dog.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Hatchie is literally my sanity. Like,
and so cute as well.
I know. When everybody's out, if I've got Hatchie, I'm cool. Like, I'm fine. I've got my little mate. I'm good. He keeps me sane. Talking to a stranger, like, that helps massively. Speaking to someone who has no idea what's going on in your life, you just let it all out. And it's the best feeling in the world. Like, therapy for me helped hugely.
And it's amazing you can sit here and not be ashamed about it as well.
No,
because I think a lot of people feel that if they go see a therapist, they're like, oh my God, the shame.
Embarrassed. Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I don't know, because I thought if I tell everybody I've been to therapy, they're going to think I'm nuts. At one point, I thought my mum was going to have to send me somewhere, because I was having these dark thoughts. I was thinking differently than the way I would. I'm a very positive, outgoing, bubbly, sunshine person. Yeah. So when this happened, it was like from that to that, and I was thinking dark thoughts that was freaking me out, and then the more I thought about it, it would freak me out even more. I just think even if you're feeling a bit down at work, or you're feeling a bit down about things that are going on in your family, or just anything, it's nice to speak to people. Yeah. Like, it's nice to talk. If you've got a friend or a teacher or just anyone who you know will listen for 5 minutes, it's just the best thing ever to let it out.
It's very empowering as well. People need to realise that anything that you can take on to make yourself feel better, it can be a very empowering experience for you. And you go forward. And there's a really interesting thing that I saw the other day, where someone said, if you tell your head to stop doing something, it won't, because if you tell it's just like an organ in your body, because if you tell your heart to stop beating, it won't stop beating.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, and when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense, because we spend so much time beating ourselves up, trying to be like, mind, stop doing this. Whereas if you go through the motions of it and sit down and actually theorise it and talk through someone, it actually helps so much.
Yeah, totally. And we're human. We're gonna go through things. We're going to go through hard times and hard periods of our life, and it's not going to be an easy ride all the time. And I think that's what we forget. Again, social media, it seems that way. People think that people are living these idyllic lives, and it's not. And there's bumps in the road, and there's going to be. And I think that's life.
I've seen you go through so many different stages of your life, like in the public area, and you've been going through quite private times at the same time. Like you were going through this anxiety at the same time as you probably having to go out and do interviews and perform and be happy. Like, how did you learn to like treasure your private life in the very public world and work on yourself away from this public world?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
That is really hard. I think sometimes when you're in this industry, you kind of have to be that actress sometimes. It does suck that you can't show your emotion 24/7 because you have to be on the camera, you have to be ready to do an interview.
Yeah.
Like, you can be heartbroken and just want to get in bed and throw the quilt over your head and never come out for a week and eat ice cream and be miserable, but instead you have a performance to prepare for and interviews to do. And sometimes it's better, because I think if I didn't have work at the time that all of like the anxiety was going on, I wouldn't have went. Like, if I didn't have 3 other girls to think about and be strong for, and all the fans that wanted to see the show be the best it could possibly be, I don't think I would have came back to work.
Well, I think you're just so incredible that you're here right now saying this.
Thanks.
Because it's honestly like, I can't imagine having to do that. Like, we all have moments when we're like, right, we have to cope because of other people.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it for like millions of fans, that can be so daunting, and you've actually got through it, and I just think you're amazing. Oh,
Why did I know you were going to make me cry?
I was not.
You made Leanne cry.
No. Oh my God, I'm going to get a reputation.
You actually are.
This is why I've got so much respect for you girls, because you've done so much incredible stuff to help people, and you haven't just sat there, and you could very easily have sat here today and like brushed over all the things that you've gone through. But anyone who watches this is really going to help them. Like, I go through anxious moments, we all go through anxious moments, and like hearing someone like you, who's a role model to so many different people, of different walks of life and everything, it will just help people so much.
I hope so.
Yeah, and it will. And also,
Good.
even just like, for instance, when you went through and you just came out about your freckles, and you were like, yeah, I just want to be really proud about that. That's another amazing thing you've done as well.
Thanks.
And I think you should take the time to pat yourself on the back, because you've honestly helped so many people, and you can see that in your fan base.
Yeah, I hope so. That's why I did it. So even though a year and a half ago I never thought I'd be in this position, I'm just buzzing that I kind of overcome it.
Yeah, buzzing. And you should be. You should be buzzing.
Thanks.
And I do love that thing that you said about the freckles as well, because I think we're living in such like a pressured beauty industry still. How has your relationship with the beauty industry changed, do you think?
When I was younger, I remember I was in the playground and we were playing catchy kisses. And one of the boys was like, yeah, let's play catchy kisses. And I was like, okay. And then I was thinking, God, I really hope someone catches me for a smooch.
Yeah.
And I ran and I looked behind and there wasn't one person chasing me. They were all after Nicola. And I remember thinking, what about me?
Yeah.
And I remember one of the boys was like, oh, don't kiss her, she's well freckly. And I remember thinking, what the heck? What is wrong with my freckles? And I hated them. And I went home and I was like, Mom, I'm thinking of getting a skin peel. And she was like, what? And I was like, you know, surely they can peel off your skin and put new skin on. And she was like, what is wrong with you? Why are you saying this? And I was like, because the boys want to kiss me because apparently I'm too freckly. And she was like, that is nonsense. She was like, you wait till they all want to kiss you now. My mum always knew I'd be a star.
Oh, she knew it.
She just knew.
She knew it.
And yeah,
now
just
the boys
like,
are trying to kiss you, babe.
But isn't it awful though that it gives you a complex? Like, and even my scar, like growing up being in the dressing rooms, getting changed in front of all the other girls, and I had this big scar on my stomach, and I just, like, it's just a lot when you're a kid. You think it's the end of the world. You'd think that if you've got freckles or it's something you're insecure about, like scars and everything like that, like it's horrendous. It's the end of the world. Why can't I be normal? Why can't I have a normal stomach? And as you get older, you think, damn, I think it's pretty quirky.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I love freckles. I'm like this in the sun now, trying to get more because I just love them. Whereas when I was a kid, it was different. But I just think when you're a kid, everything's 10 times worse. You worry about the silliest things, like, don't you? So I think age definitely helped me. I've always said you can't please everyone. If I'm trying to please people, why do I have to do something that makes me unhappy, like wearing loads of foundation to make my skin look flawless, when people are still going to say I look shit, and they're going to say why she wearing too much makeup. So I may as well just be myself and then let it be that.
Well, I think you're beautiful inside and out, babes.
Thanks, straight out.
I really do. And thanks for taking the time out to talk to me and
Thank
share
you.
that message, because I think even with what you were saying about being in the school playground and having freckles, like, that's happening to someone out there right now. And it's great that they can look up to you and be like, oh my God, when I get to that age, I'm going to feel powerful, I'm going to feel empowered.
Yeah.
You're epic.
Yay.
Thanks so much. You're
Thank
the best.
you so much.
For more amazing, empowering videos like this with such epic, empowering women as Perrie, make sure you subscribe to the Glamour UK channels now.